You look a little lost there. Can I help you out? Oh, no, it's no trouble. It's totally fine. It's my job. I work here. I'm Reese. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Are you an incoming freshman? Oh, great. You'll love it here. I know I checked out both Connors Reef and Stanton before I decided to come to Same, but I'm really glad that I did. The community here is just amazing. There's lots of places you'll be able to get connected and feel at home. You're going to have a great time. But that does kind of start with being able to find everything you need for classes. If you'd be willing to let me look at your class schedule, I could actually probably find all your books for you. Don't worry about it. Your phone is perfect. Is it all right if I take a peek? Thanks. All right, what do we got? Intro to Magical Theory, Intro to Druidic Magic. Oh, all right. Algebra, English Lit, American History, Magical History, Freshman Bio, Intro to Water Magic, Intro to Is there this? This is a really massive conflict on your schedule. What sort of magic do you have? Oh my God, what? Oh, wow. You're okay. This course load makes sense for a recanter. Never mind. Um, no. It's not a problem. Not at all. I'm so sorry. You're actually a recanter. I'm. I never thought I'd necessarily meet a recanter. I'm sorry. You deserve better than this. Let's get your books sorted. Most of these are going to be no problem at all to get for you. Here, let's take a little tour of the stacks, as it were. All the basic stuff for the actual core classes is right here. Math and nascent history are over there to your left. You're going to need this textbook for math, and you're actually in a really good spot for history. You got Greenberg. Greenberg thinks textbooks are a waste of paper and refuses to assign any. You'll get all your texts for his class in a zip file on your first day, so make sure you've got a laptop. Lit courses are over here to the right, and you really only need this one for right now. Back this way is where we keep all the stuff for the specialized coursework. Can I look at your schedule again really quick? Thanks. Oh, you got Kimball for magical history. She's a hard ass, but she'll make sure you know your stuff by the time you leave. Did you, do you come from a Lucent family? I guess that look is my answer. But that means it's really awesome that you got Kimball. There's a lot of ground you're going to need to cover, and pretty quickly to be caught up. I hate some of her choices in course literature, but she's also pretty good at deconstructing it all and letting you examine it from a fresh perspective. Which I guess it all is for you, really. But this first text, Deadly Nightshade, an overview of vampiric society through the ages, it's been outdated for at least 5 decades, and it wasn't even written by a vampire. It's beyond biased in some of its assertions, and it doesn't delve into any of the political machinations that have led to the regulatory discrimination that vampires are still facing, despite the fact that those regulations were enacted centuries ago. I took Kimball's class 2 years ago, and while this is just an overview, there are much better texts she could be using, if I'm being frank. I have a cousin who was recently turned, and before that, despite the fact that I broke the curve in Kimball's class on every exam, I had no clue what the vampire community has to go through. Most of the magical community doesn't, actually. You wouldn't know that either, though, since I guess you don't know most of the magical community yet. But suffice to say, it isn't right. See, every other type of magic user, we're allowed to just exist. We do have to be registered, but that's part of the nascent world too, right? Your social security number, a driver's license or ID, your birth certificate, even, stuff like that. We exist in the non magical world too. I mean, I've got a birth certificate and a driver's license and pay my taxes and all that jazz. No, I mean, we're a little insular for safety's sake, but we're not some cloistered community who doesn't even know what blue jeans are or something. I mean, really? Well, sure, we've got schools and stuff, but they're registered with the nascent government. Oh, that's the official term for a non magical society. Nascent. They're just registered as private schools, which isn't a complete lie. We aren't looking to entirely disconnect from normal society. We just want to make sure we're not panicking the masses or anything. You'll definitely get a chance to hear about that in Professor Kimball's class. Don't worry. She's got her pet topics. That's one of them. And I think that's part of where I get so frustrated with her and her methodology. Her blind spot when it comes to regulatory discrimination is pretty massive. See, just like in nascent society, magical people don't get to exist completely off the grid. The Lucent community has its own registering system that we're required to be part of, too. The Federal Agency for Practical Standards sees to that. I mean, don't get me wrong, though. They honestly do good work and keep us safe and off the nascent radar as much as possible. But some agency regulations are such egregious overreaches, I can't believe they've been allowed to stand uncontested, especially as long as some of them have. The agency? Oh, sorry. They really didn't catch you up on much over in registration, did they? We could do it with a few more relucent. Oh, that's, people who have magic but whose parents are non magical. Like you. We could do with some more of them, or at least relucent adjacent people over there. I mean, I get it. This is a whole university specifically for magical education. And we've got the Intro to Magical Practices course, especially for people who might have discovered their powers late or been kept from them. But honestly, they could stand to at least give new people a pamphlet or something before just turning you loose to the wilds. But it is your good fortune to have stumbled upon a supremely talkative and empathetic, if I do say so myself, air wielder. Anyway, the agency is almost like the magical equivalent of the police and FBI all rolled into one, if those agencies had regulatory powers in addition to their regular duties. Thankfully, no. There's also the Assembly. That's the elected governmental body, and they keep the agency in check. In theory. Sometimes it definitely isn't in check enough. I understand keeping some of the regulations that the agency put in place before the Assembly's existence, but there are definitely more than a few in need of serious re examination. Like almost every regulation centered around vampires. So we, non vampiric, magical individuals, are allowed to just live our lives. There are some cases where licensure is necessary, like for professional healers and stuff like that. But mostly, apart from registering with the agency to show we exist and are part of the community, we can do whatever we want so long as we're being good citizens. Vampires, though, they're forced to live in clans and to always report their living situation to the agency. Every time they even move apartments, they have to report it. Always. Like they're on parole or something simply for existing. And the agency takes a sample of blood from every new vampire. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't think anyone does. My cousin said that they refused to say what it was for, just that it was compulsory. And my cousin said there was no legal means through which to decline the donation. It's an absolutely glaring abuse of power, is what it is, and an invasion of privacy. And the fact that the Assembly hasn't done anything about it is staggeringly deplorable. I'm sorry. You didn't come here for a speech about rights of people you haven't even met and probably think want to kill you. They don't, by the way. That's a myth. At least that much that stupid book gets right. If you want to know more, though, I've organized a protest for vampire rights this weekend. It isn't anything huge, just a group of us who are connected to vampires, even if it's only tangentially, who want better for our loved ones and are passionate about seeking justice for them. I mean, there's no pressure or anything. You don't have to come. Oh, uh, well, it starts at 9:30 Saturday morning on the quad. Cool. For now, let's get you all checked out though. Oh, no, you don't pay a dime. I just have to scan them in and connect them to your student account so the bill can be sent to the assembly. It truly is free education, promise. You do have to pay for your own meals, though. Yeah. And there you go. I guess I'll see you Saturday then.